the high cost of authenticity. Navigating a world that refuses to see you for many, the transition into a new phase of life is marked by peace and resolution. For Carol Donnelly, a trans woman who came out at age 63, the transition has been less of a peaceful evolution and more of a navigation through a social and political minefield. Through a series of recent travels, Donnelly illustrates the friction between living authentically and a society, and a government that often seems designed to obstruct that very existence. The friction of the red dot, the daily reality for many transgender individuals, involves navigating systems designed around a strict gender binary. Donnelly recounts multiple instances at airport security, where the TSA's technology-specifically scanners that flag anatomical discrepancies based on perceived gender became a source of public humiliation. In one instance, a TSA agent's reaction to a red dot on the scanner led to a tense standoff. Rather than a routine security procedure, the interaction felt deeply personal, characterized by an agent who viewed the necessity of a pat-down as a personal burden rather than a professional duty. There's two sides to this. Respect mine, the agent insisted a sentiment that highlights the growing social friction, where the discomfort of the observer is often prioritized over the dignity of the person being observed. A landscape of hostility, the challenges Donnelly faced were not confined to airport terminals. Her travels through San Francisco and New York revealed a spectrum of hostility. Religious confrontation, being accosted in public by individuals viewing trans identity as a blasphemy. Verbal harassment, facing unprovoked vitriol from strangers on the street. Erasure of identity, encountering service workers who, despite visual cues of her femininity, insisted on using male pronouns, treating her identity as an inconvenience to be ignored rather than a fact to be respected. These moments serve as a microcosm of a larger trend. The othering of a community that makes up only 0.6% of the U.S. adult population. Because trans people are a small demographic, they are often used as political scapegoats, targeted by leaders to signal strength to larger voting blocs. The political minefield, the struggle is not merely social, it is systemic. Donnelly points to a troubling trend in American politics, where both sides of the aisle have contributed to the marginalization of transgender people. The Republican platform, explicitly targeting the existence of transgender identities through executive orders and legislative efforts. The Democratic gap, the passage of military spending bills that include bans on funding for gender-affirming care for minors, despite the fact that such care is utilized by a tiny fraction of the youth population. This political climate creates a haunted house effect, a constant state of hypervigilance where one never knows when the next jump scare of a new law or a targeted policy will arrive. The trade-off of privilege, perhaps the most profound insight in Donnelly's experience, is the loss of unearned privilege. Having lived much of her life as a white adult male, she notes that the common courtesies and benefit of the doubt once afforded to her have vanished. However, she argues that this loss is a necessary price for authenticity. The transition from a life of camouflage to a life of truth is a trade-off of social ease for personal integrity. Conclusion: while the journey of living openly as a trans woman is fraught with systemic hostility and social friction, for Donnelly, the cost of authenticity is far lower than the cost of living a lie. Her experience highlights a critical need for empathy and allyship in a society that continues to struggle with the complexities of human identity.